Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do something a little different, which is kind of discuss one of the features within the video game that I do play and share a lot on my channel, that being Genshin Impact, and the feature itself being Primogems, which, for if you didn't know, is the in-game currency that you use to acquire weapons and characters within the game. So I did this simply because I was bored, but I thought it'd be kind of fun and actually go through and look at the math through it. How many Primogems can you acquire? And what does that actually mean? And what does it look like in terms of how you spawn characters and weapons? So on this list, we'll be discussing the different ways in which you acquire Primogems, and we'll be looking at it through both the free-to-play option, meaning simply by playing the game and engaging in some of the outside material outside of it. This is how you get some of the currency. I also am taking a look at kind of the low spending options, just simply because those are a bit easier to calculate. I cannot calculate whether you spend $100 versus $10,000 on this game. I also cannot calculate whether you spend $100 on the game by buying the $1 packs as opposed to the $100 pack. I don't know why you would do the former, but everyone's different. So I simply wanted to kind of make a quick summary of it, and I wanted to get a very average but solid view on it, but not make it too complicated. So I left off a few of the things that you can also acquire premium gems in, namely kind of the um, Genshin web event type stuff, because those are very random. At least from what I've noticed, they're more random than they are succinct. So let's actually get into it. So I also calculated this list on a 30-day period as opposed to the patch period. There are plenty of articles and other videos just explaining how many premium gems you can get in a certain patch, but I felt like analyzing how many you get based off a patch is a lot less helpful than how much you can get within 30 days, simply because each patch is kind of different. Some patches come out with grand exploration, like obviously 3.0, while as patches like 3.5 don't come out with any new exploration. So that's kind of not a good way to look at it. So let's finally dig into what you can actually do to acquire this. So first is the daily commissions, which are simply kind of like the daily events that respawn. They're usually quick. I usually don't take any more than 2 minutes to complete a single one. There's 4 of them a day, and you get 10 Primogems per one, and you get 20 Primogems for turning in the commissions at the Commissions Guild. So you get about 60 a day. So in a month period, which I've designated as 30 days, you get about 1,800 of that. Next is the Spiral Abyss, which is Genshin's quote unquote in game content. And also, this reloads about every 14 days, so I just summarize it as twice a month because 2 weeks, it's close enough to 30-ish days. It's also kind of hard to do it on a patch basis simply because patches are 42 to 44 days, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. That's usually how long they are, so it's a bit harder to kind of calculate how many Primogems you can acquire, especially because you can only claim it once every 2 weeks, and it's not like an everyday kind of thing. So I made it 1,200 to keep it kind of basic. Next, I include the major patch events. From what I've noticed, they're usually about 720 Primogems. You get about 120 a day. Usually, that looks something like 30. Sometimes you get 30 to 40 per day per event. I think it's usually 40, and you get that 3 times, so that's 120. I don't know why they break it up so weirdly, but you get about 120 a day for 6 days. It's about 720. The minor patch events, those are usually 2. Sometimes there's more, but usually there's 2, and you get about 840 with it. You get about 420 per minor patch event, so 840. You also can get the Hoyo Lab login. So for those of you who don't know, which I imagine not many of you don't, but you can basically go onto Hoyo Lab, you can create an account, and basically link your Genshin Impact ID to it, and they come up with this calendar, so every day you can log in and get their various stuff, and you can get 20 Primogems every week or so, starting from the 4th day up until the 18th. You get about 60 Primogems from that if you remember to do it. I don't, but you can certainly do it, and I have in the past done it. There's also live stream codes, so every new patch there is a live stream code. There's 3 of them that pop up, and each are about 100, I believe. So since 3, you get 300 Primogems. There's also patch maintenance, which you get about, I put 300 per hour, but that's not correct. We can just eliminate that out of all my notes. But next we have patch maintenance, and you get about 600. So they kind of divide it by like 200 per hour, and it's about a 4 hour. They give you 600 for it, which is a decent amount. There's also a single code that comes out every patch, and that's 60. Primogems you get, they usually come out midway to like early on in the new patch, so you simply go into like the redeem code section of Genshin, and then you get those Primogems. So in total, you get about 5,580 Primogems, which is equivalent to about 36 wishes. I think it's actually more 34 because I did my math the first time wrong, but down here you can see that it's about 34. Next, we talk about the other kind of low spending options. The best one, if you are going to spend any money on it, is Welcome. Welcome is essentially, it gives you 300 Genesis crystals, which can be converted into Primogems. We're not going to get into all the different types of in-game currency, but essentially it can give you 300 Primogems up front, with additional 90 Primogems every day you log into the game that span over a month. So that in total gets you about 3,000 wishes for $5, and that's about 3,000 Primogems at $5. And that is about 18 wishes that you can get every month. That's also part of the reason why I made it a 30-day period, because it made it easier to calculate this math, especially if you're only going to buy it one time. Next is the Battle Pass. The Battle Pass also gives you additional just regular standard fate wishes. I didn't include that in the calculation because any free-to-play person could also get that, and it's also not Primogems. It's a different kind of wish, and mostly people use their Primogems to use kind of their currency on the limited banners for the characters and weapons that come out every so often, as opposed to who are always there. So that's why I didn't put it into the calculation of the Battle Pass. So anyway, the Battle Pass, if you are to get the kind of premium currency plus the Primogems at the very end, it is about 1,280 Primogems, so 8 wishes, and it would cost you about $10. Now, the reason I wouldn't super recommend this, it's totally not necessary, but if you're lazy like me, and like the fact that it also gives you talent books and level up materials and talent materials and gold. I'm not super pressed for gold. I'm AR60. I'm never out of gold, but I just think it's a little kind of additional thing, and them both together, both the Welcome and Battle Pass together, is 4,280 Primogems, is about $15. So next, I created a range for how much you can get it. So if you're totally free to play, you're only going to get 5,580. But depending on which of these you also decide to include, if you get both, like how I usually do, the max Primogems you can get is 9,860. Obviously, if you just buy the Battle Pass or just buy Welcome, it's going to be somewhere in between. So essentially, you can look for 34 to 61. Now, this isn't exact. You're going to have Primogems left over for both in this case, but I simply rounded down because it's not worth a whole wish, so why would you say it's worth 35 as opposed to 34? So typically within a month period, you can expect 34 to 61 wishes. Over a 6-month period, the numbers go up, so you can expect 209 to 369, and then over a year, it turns into 418 versus 739. So this also gives you kind of a good idea of how many more wishes you can get per yearly cycle, per monthly cycle, anything that you want. So obviously these numbers are going to vary and change, but these are about what you can expect for just doing these basic things. The next thing that I thought was the most interesting, that actually is kind of like very interesting to look at, is how does this translate to 5-star characters? So what I first analyzed is how many 5-star characters can you get within a given month? Obviously, these are percents. So basically, over a month, if you're completely free to play, meaning you're only getting 5,580 Primogems, you're going to get 37%. You're 37% of the way there to a 5-star. So how do we get these numbers? Is essentially Genshin has a system which everyone refers to as pity. Pity is essentially if you don't get something within this time frame, the game will automatically kind of give it to you. That's kind of how you think of it. So pity in this game is 90 wishes. So simply, I found the percent by doing 34 divided by 90, and I rounded to the closest hundredth of a percent. But essentially, you're guaranteed. So if you're completely free to play, you will more than likely, you're 37% of the way there to guarantee yourself a 5-star. Now, how it actually works in practice is Genshin, the percents aren't all the same. You don't have like an equal chance at every wish level. But for just like brevity's sake and for ease sake, we're only sticking with the 90. You're guaranteed, because some people can get it within a single wish with no pity, and some people will go to 90 every time. Now, most people are in between, but this is to look at what you are guaranteed and gives you a more accurate picture, and you can be pleasantly surprised when these numbers go up because you get it early. So over a month period, if you are a light spender, meaning you buy both of these, you get 67% of it. So you're that much closer to guaranteeing yourself a character. Only represent you're guaranteed of a 5-star, but they aren't guaranteed a limited 5-star, which are the banners most people wish on. So like I said, there's a pity and a guarantee at 90 wishes, but that's just for any 5-star character if you were wishing on the character banner. If you want a guarantee for that specific character, that number goes up to 180, because Genshin has a system which everyone refers to as a 50-50, meaning once you get to 90, you are guaranteed a 5-star, and it's a 50% chance it's going to be any of the standard 5-stars, which I believe there are 6 of, or a 50% chance for the specific character that you're wishing for. Now, if you lose the 50-50 and you get one of the standard characters that are always available, that meaning within your next 90 wishes, you are guaranteed the character that you are wanting. So you simply just divide these numbers by 2, and this is kind of the percentage way of how many wishes you acquire before you are guaranteed that limited 5-star character. And this is something that I think a lot of people don't know about. They just kind of wish and hope for the best. But here's your percent chance of getting guaranteed 5-star at guaranteed level. So this goes to 18% if you're completely free to play over a month, and it goes to 33% if you are light spender / kind of pay to win. And the crazy thing is, over years time period, you, as a free to play player, completely free to play, are only guaranteed a little over 4 5-stars in general. You're only going to get 4, which is crazy to think about. You only get 4 characters every year. Like, that's insane. And then if you're more pay to win, you're guaranteed 8. And you can see like this number is not exactly double, but almost double the free to play option. And when it comes to limited characters that you're guaranteed, you're only guaranteed 2. And you're only guaranteed 4 if you do this light spending up here. Which, when I actually saw this, I thought was absolutely insane. Like, you do your daily grind, you do Spiral Abyss all the time, you play all the events, you log in, you do all the live stream comes, you don't forget to do any of this every single day for a year, and you're really only guaranteed 2 to 4 characters. Which I think, now in practice, this works a lot differently. In practice, 90 is the max. These are like the bare minimum amounts that you can get, because you go all the way to 90, or 180, I should say. So this is looking at the worst case scenario, and obviously people get them a lot earlier, and people win their 50-50s. I'm not going to do the math on how exactly that turns out, but I just thought it was super kind of interesting that you're only guaranteed this. That's all I kind of wanted to discuss today. So I hope you guys enjoyed my analysis of this. Anyway, remember to like and comment and subscribe if you found any of this useful, or / is something you didn't know or didn't really put together by yourself. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.